All right. I would like to welcome Mr. Najee.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much, sir. Good to see you.
Man, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you here. Legendary, man. Legendary.
People say that. I don't know that guy. I'm trying to figure out who that guy is.
Hey, man, not good.
Yes, sir.
That's what I hear. I don't know. That's what I hear. Well, you're a New York boy, so you know how we do it. I'm from Brooklyn. You're from Queens, right? Yeah, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Mm-hmm. You
okay.
went into it.
Yeah, I was saying, pretty much, I'd like to thank you for coming on the show. And
truly my
let's
pleasure.
talk about your career, man. Your wonderful career, and you're still going.
Yeah, well, thank goodness for that. It ain't over till it's really over.
Well, how did this all take place as far as you getting into music, like following that, taking that path, and then having the ability to choose a great instrument? How did that work?
Well, I think it was a natural grooming for me. I grew up in New York City, and my mother was an avid fan of jazz and saxophone in particular. So I recall records as a young boy where she would play George Coleman from Miles Davis's band at that time, who was a great linear player, like Train. So I just remember hearing all that stuff, Joe Henderson and others, Sonny Rollins. And so I had a natural inclination towards the instrument. And then in elementary school, in the first grade, I'll never forget a guy coming into school and playing a song I heard on the radio by Stan Getz called Desinfinato. And I thought he was the guy that recorded the song because he played it so well. Wow. And I knew right there and then that was something I wanted to do, So, and then it just evolved naturally growing up in the New York area in the 70s. Everybody was in a band, who played music. I mean, everybody had their band, and we had the Battle of Bands. And
sure,
that grew into eventually a professional career for me. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, who would, at your era when you grew up in Queens, because I grew up in Brooklyn.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I lived in Brooklyn for a while. Yeah,
did you?
Yeah, we did. We right in the Bushwick area I went to.
Okay.
My elementary school was there in Bushwick, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. Mine was on in East New York side. I grew up, I was born in Bed-Stuy, raised in East New York. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. They say go big or go hard, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, man.
But who in your era, growing up, as far as jazz, did you really take to? Like, who was it? Was it Miles Davis? Who was it? Who really got you to say, you know what, this is it? Okay.
For me, it was several people. I mean, my mother had records of Mongo Santa Maria, who had great saxophone players and flute players in his band. I remember one album, as I told you before, was Four and More with Miles Davis featuring George Coleman. Let me see, who else were others? Later on, it was Grover and, all the contemporary guys.
Grover Washington was incredible. Yeah.
And I remember hearing Sonny Stitt and, all these great players as a kid. So there were several. And then growing up in New York, I was just around musicians who played well. We had a guy in our neighborhood, we called him Winky. His name was Alvin Flythe. And he played in a band called the Firebolts. And he was in the neighborhood right in the projects area of Jamaica, Queens. And I would just go by his window and listen to him practice all the time.
Wow.
And,
he was that good, huh?
Yeah, he was that good. He really was.
Wow.
And there were quite a few people like that, including my high school teachers. They were a great inspiration in terms of inspiring me to play and that kind of thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And did you go to a performing arts school?
Well, not for high school. I went to August Martin High School, which was an aviation school.
Yeah, I know aviation over there near Queens Boulevard, right?
Yeah, well, I didn't go to aviation. I went to August Martin, which was
gotcha.
The black aviation school in Jamaica, Queens, New York. So it was a school. It was actually named after an African-American pilot who was doing the Biafra missions at that time and who unfortunately died on one of those missions, landing an airplane in bad conditions. But anyway, the school was named after him. And for those students who wanted to be in aviation career, I went there. But at the age of 15, I took my first tenor saxophone solo, and after that, all the girls knew my name, so I had a quick career right there and then. And then, during high school, I also studied flute at Manhattan School of Music with Harold Jones, and got to study with the legendary Jimmy Heath, Frank Foster, Ernie Wilkins at Jazzmobile, which was under Billy Taylor at the time. So
wasn't Jimmy Heath's M. Tume's?
Tume was his son, yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow. You didn't think I knew that, huh? See?
Yeah, there you go.
I went to Erasmus Hall High School.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, on Flatbush Avenue, 911 Flatbush Avenue. It was a great place. I learned a lot there. Yeah,
Yes,
that's why I
sir.
met Hubert Eves, the third,
Oh,
the
okay.
fourth.
All right.
Yeah, Hubert and I went to school together. But it was a great time. Just a really, really great time for us at that particular moment. Now, how did you separate the saxophone from the flute?
Uh-huh.
How does that even work?
Well, in high school, we were encouraged to play more than just saxophone. You played clarinet. You always were considered doing a doubler because back then, musicians were still doing big band work. So I mean, I recall going to rehearsals and watching the Charles Mingus big band rehearse, but one particular occasion, when I was 16, I was in this band in Jamaica, Queens, New York, and we were rehearsing on a Christmas Eve night for a gig we were doing on New Year's. And Christmas Day, some of the band members came to my house and told me that my saxophones were stolen from the studio. Wow. So for a year, all I had was a flute. And so I focused on flutes up until for a whole year until I could get back to saxophone. And that's wow. But that blessing, that ended up being a major blessing because I can play both, and I get calls. Do a lot I get calls to play a lot of flute solos for people. So.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah. Now, who have you worked with in the? Well, I know you work with everybody pretty much, but who have you? Who would you say was that person or that project that you worked on that kind of like elevated your career?
There were many, but I guess the one person that put us on, and that would be both my brother and I, was Shaka Khan. Because in '83, after we left college, we couldn't afford to go anymore. I came back to New York, and she hired me. Ended up playing her.
Really?
Yeah, in the Ain't Nobody tour. So my brother and I both went out with her for a while, and then that's where my associations with other people who were doing things like Melissa Morgan, she got signed to Capitol Records, and I ended up playing on her first album. And from there, I was invited to sign to Hush Productions and Capitol EMI Records and all that. So,
okay. Yeah, Hush Production was Melba Moore's husband at the time. Yeah,
Charles Huggins. Mm-hmm.
Charles Huggins. Yeah,
yep.
Yeah. That was on 57th and.
Yep, that's right. 7th Avenue.
Yeah. Guys, I got a little bit of memory.
You remember
about
that? Yeah. West 58th and 7th.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. 7th and Broadway. Yeah.
Yeah, because Arista was on 57th.
That's right.
Yeah.
231 West 58th Street. I remember.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, what was it like when you signed with Arista Records? What was that? I'm sorry, not Arista Records, Hush Productions.
Hush. Well, it's kind of blessing and a curse, if you will.
Mm-hmm. In
the sense that, it cost a lot to be with them. I'll just leave it at that.
Gotcha. I got you. I already know.
But, in fairness, I mean, they were the ones that took the shot on me. And so I'm grateful for that because I have a real career as a result of that decision to sign with them, Yeah.
Right. Wow. Mm-hmm. Incredible. Yeah. Incredible. Now, have you worked with Whitney Houston at all?
I never worked with her. No.
Really?
No. I've unfortunately.
I find that hard to believe.
No, that's true. Well, I remember one time her office calling Hush to invite me to an event she was going to, and her office said that they wanted me to be the person that accompanied her. Okay. But I never went. I didn't go. And that was when she had the media all over her life,
Yeah.
And but then Kirk Whalum ended up being her guy.
Yes. Yes.
He made those classic solos and.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow. Interesting. Yeah. Now, you leave school, you sign a deal.
Yeah.
You're in the music business. Mm-hmm. What was your reaction when you first got into the music business? Because the music business is brutal.
Yeah. Well, I was always that kid that was, didn't really, I guess the best way I can put it, I didn't give regard to the consequences. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I just,
gotcha.
For me, it was, there's that African saying that when you get to the other side, you get in the water when you get to the other side, you just burn the boat, that kind of thing.
Right.
For me, that's the way I saw it. And that's the way I just always lived it. And it always paid off for me.
Right.
So I always had a gut feeling, even when I quit and sold my horns, at one point, which was when I was in Boston in college and I couldn't afford to go anymore, and I was married, had a young family, and the wife I had at the time really couldn't understand the nature of the game. Yeah. So I sold and tried to be a banker, and there's a saying that a lot of people meet their destiny while traveling on the road, trying to avoid it. And
that's true.
There was always opportunity that brought me back in, and so. It's 4 years for you, man.
It's for you. It's for you. Listen, when you got that gift, man, because you do have a gift. Some folks go to school to, they for years and years and years, but you have that gift where you've actually blessed a lot of people. I've actually seen you in, I think it was the Capitol Jazz Fest in Maryland.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Yeah.
I was out there all day. Yeah, I was out there all day, man.
All right, okay.
My cousins from Connecticut, they usually, they go every year.
Okay.
So one year I went I got to see you. It was just really cool. Moving into the music industry, let's talk about the music industry for a minute. Now, what's your take on publishing and as far as sampling?
Okay. Well, as long as the people that they sample get paid, I think it's not a bad thing. If you do, I've had people sample my stuff. I never got paid. I heard Too Short did a song with one of my songs. I still have yet to see a check, but bet you don't know, and there's a couple other rappers that have used like little excerpts of things. But I think if the writers get paid for it, there's no harm in, rappers have a different approach to the music industry than most of us who are actual players, instrumentalists. Right. And
I think, what I think too, I think the musicianship is not really appreciated, in my opinion, in this day and age. The young people, everything is quick. It's 10 minutes. I got to have a platinum record tomorrow, not next week, not next year. It's got to be tomorrow.
Right. It's microwave.
Right. And I think the music scene has, I think more so the educational system.
Yes.
They don't really provide. When I grew up in Brooklyn, I'm sure we're close to the same age.
Sure.
A lot of people, we had the Boys and Girls Club. We had the different music stores. We had band. We had jazz band and classical music. And there was so many different avenues. The kids nowadays, they don't have anything in school as far as music. Some schools may have it, but not like how it was when we grew up.
Right. I totally agree, and I think the defunding of music education in New York City, as one city, gave rise to the rap world coming up,
Right.
As kids, that was their expression. That became their expression. So.
It's true. It's true, and it's sad because they can learn so much from music because music takes you to a different place. And there's so many talented young kids that really just don't have a chance to touch an instrument. They can't go to a Sam Ash or a Guitar Center or a Sweetwater and order, 1,000. I don't even know what saxophones go for. I play keys. I know keys are like 3,000-4,000.
Yeah, average horn is about 3 to depending on what you get. You can go as high as 20,000, so depending on which instrument. 20,000 for for the vintage horns like Selmer Mark 6s and things like that. I don't know if you can see. I have a couple of those back there. But, they can get pretty pricey,
Wow.
For a pro horn. Yeah.
I thought Nord Stage was big, man. I had a motif. I have a different synthesizers. I'm also like a producer writer. I have like a drum machine. I have the MPC Live too.
Okay.
And the Moog Subsequent 37. So I'm into like just writing and having fun.
Good.
And that's what a lot of folks don't really do in the music business. Everything, like I said, everything is quick, it's instant, it's social media, everything is ramped up.
Right.
And there's no time to really produce or put music together to really, appreciate.
Right. True. Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think is missing.
Oh.
Yeah. So, Clarence Alonzo Oliver, man, I'm so glad he put us in touch, man. I was excited to talk to you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So what is it like behind the scenes from your eyes in the jazz world when you're out there performing, in front of thousands and thousands of people and can't nobody play that sax like Najee? So what is it like?
Well,
Kirk Whalum is great too. Don't get me wrong.
Right, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about me is I think I've been fortunate to find my own niche. When I started, there wasn't, we had Grover, we had Ronnie Laws, but the industry had taken a nosedive. And honestly, I don't think Michael Jackson gets enough credit for his rebirth of the industry in the mid 80s because Thriller brought people back into the record stores. And then, of course, Prince came along with what he was doing. But Honestly, it was, I was fortunate that when I signed my record deal, there was a big open void, Kenny G had 4 albums at that point on Arista, which didn't do very well for him. He didn't okay. You had George Howard who did okay. But then when Najee Steen came out and sat at number 1 Billboard for 13 weeks, I got the chart over there somewhere. As it goes, Kenny G's album was on a decline. It had been out a year. And when that sat at number 1 for 13 weeks, he had gone through Hush too, because, Clive Davis and Charles Huggins, it was actually Hush Productions that produced those albums, except for the last one that I'm talking about. Okay. The first 2 to 3 albums were on Hush, and they didn't have that success. And then here I come, signing to the same company, and I got a number 1 record that goes gold. Well, I don't think Clive was too happy about that, so he revived that record, put $1 million behind it for promotion and all that. Everything else is history,
he went to Rasmusson High School as well, Clive Davis.
Oh, did he really? I didn't know that.
Did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, actually, a little history. Arista Records, there was a group, academic group called the Arista Group.
Oh, okay.
And Clive Davis was part of that group. So when he went off to go to law school, I think he went to NYU. Okay. When he started his label, he named Arista Records. That came from Erasmus Hall High School.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's some good some good trivia, man.
Yeah.
All right. Good stuff. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I was classmates with Russell Simmons. You know Russell, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, we were, I'll never forget the day he got kicked out of high school for punching a teacher in the face, I mean, if you knew Russell back then, like we knew, you'd have said this kid's gonna murder somebody. He's going to jail. It just goes to show you just never know, man. You never know. So
you never know. Yeah, incredible. Wow. Mm-hmm. So Arista Records came out. They tried to push Kenny G up against you, which I think is crazy. But he's a great musician. He's a great musician.
He really is.
The success that your record had at that time was an explosion.
Right.
In the music business, because now folks say, oh my God, music. And you start thinking about Harlem. Like my wife's from Harlem.
Oh,
so you start thinking about Harlem, and you start thinking about the Cotton Club, and you start thinking about all the great places that jazz musicians play.
That's
that
right.
A lot of people really, especially older people, they don't get to see that anymore.
That's true.
So you brought that new spin onto it, which really turned the game around.
Well, I thank you. I mean, a whole bunch of them came right after, but I was very fortunate that my timing, the timing was just great for me.
I love it when you're so modest, man. That's cool.
Well, I'll let somebody else tell the history.
Absolutely. Yeah, you sound just like Hubert Eves III. I was complimenting him, man, because I followed his career for years, and I complimented him, and he had the same But when you think about young people, when you think about the music business, when you think about where the music business is headed right now, what's your take on that?
Well, I think it's new uncharted territory. I think it's developing into something that we haven't seen before. Right. Back when Napster came out and that started killing the record game, and ultimately with that, iTunes and other things, the digital world, I think that changed the game where retail died. And now we're seeing where the technology is strongly influencing where the future is for music in general and how it's marketed, promoted, and all that stuff. So in the case of how music is sold, we know CDs are on their way out because the technology doesn't even support it anymore. I mean, you can't even buy a car with a CD player anymore. I bought bought a brand new car 2 years ago. Well, in 2018 or longer than that. Right. And I got in the car and I said, oh, man, this is so nice. So where's the CD player? He's like, sir, there's no CD player. I mean, you can stream anything, but you got Pandora, you can download, via internet on your car, but there's no CD player. So CDs are now just become promotional items at my concerts, And so now we're thinking about Now we're thinking about what's the next phase to market and sell the music to people.
Well, I can tell you. You want to know what it is?
Sure, absolutely.
Because I'm an engineer. This is what I do for a living. Okay. So the music business is headed to NFTs. NFT, and which that stands for is non-fungible tokens.
Right.
So what this one person did, I'll get you the information afterwards. Sure. So this one guy, he had an album out. It was maybe 3 years ago, whatever it was. He released it a second time.
Sure. Okay.
He sold, I think it was 8 million. He made $8 million.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because think about it, if you create a song or an album, let's just say you create a new Najee album, you call it ABC, hypothetically, right? And you sell that album on NFT, and you sell it because it's an exclusive thing. It's almost like the stock market. It's like you're selling your music on the stock market. Just think of it as that way.
Sure.
Right? So now you sell this song, ABC, is by Najee,
right?
And he only released, let's just say 1,000. That's it.
Okay.
So you can charge whatever you want. So remember years ago, you sold the album was $12.99, $13.99. The single was $3.99, you know, and so forth.
Sure, yeah.
So you don't have to deal with the point system. You don't have to deal with major labels or even iTunes, because iTunes takes a big chunk of that money when you sell on iTunes.
They do.
Yeah, but I'll get you that stuff off.
Oh, please do. Please, could you email me that? I would appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's a wave of the future where music is going. I mean, you know, people should be lucky enough to be in a position, you know, you guys, you're doing concerts, you're touring the world.
Sure.
That's like a rare thing nowadays.
Right.
With the digital era, it took away that presence of the artist itself. So the artist comes in, he plays, you grind it out for an hour and a half, whatever it is. That's what music is.
Sure.
Now we're hearing digital music recorded on either, was it Logic?
Yes.
Or whatever they're using.
Pro Tools,
Logic, right. I use this thing from, what is it, Apollo Twin. They have this thing, this software that's built into it. Luna. It's called Luna.
Yeah, I use it.
Incredible. Incredible.
I know. I know. I use it on the new album. Really? We're releasing tomorrow, Savoir Faire. Yeah, I use Luna on
Really?
that.
Okay.
Yeah. Because the Universal has made the plugins so wonderful.
Have
plugins.
You seen the SSL 9000?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, it's that's a whole other conversation.
Oh,
I just bought a Neumann.
Okay.
And a Manley. Microphone. Yeah, and that's the sound quality, in my opinion.
Yes.
The only thing it's missing is like, say, for Logic, you have the different keyboards and synth sounds and things like that. But if you're running a Cronus, you got a core, like I have a core Cronus as well. So that would just put me into a whole nother, because I like to play into the MPC and then I like playing into Luna. Okay. I think Luna will blow Pro Tools out of the water.
It already has for me, because, just the ability to have all the plugins that right. It really makes a difference.
And you can pull it up at any given time. Isn't
That's
that wonderful?
Right. I love it. Absolutely love it, man.
Because many years ago, it was, you had to go to a recording studio and you had to pay thousands and thousands of dollars, and it was just too much.
Yes.
But now you can do everything. Then do you record at home at all?
I do.
Or?
Yeah, I do a lot of recording at home. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. And do you play keyboards, or is it just?
I do. Yeah,
really?
I do. Yeah, actually, I started in high school, and that ended up being a way of making money for me when I was. Back in the day, in the early 80s, there was no work for a saxophone player if you just played horn, other than recordings. So I went on the road with a group called BBQ Band, Brooklyn Bronx Queens.
Brooklyn Bronx Queens, absolutely.
Yeah, actually, they're one of the red. Yeah, right, ready or not. It's only up the street. Well, actually, the original member, Kevin Robinson, guitar player, he's playing with me now. He's actually on the road with me. But so I toured with them, and I toured with the group Change, playing keyboards. Most people didn't know I was a saxophone player, because I take one little thing a night, just playing keyboards, and
wow. I did not know that. That Change, I think Fonzie Thornton was in Change.
Fonzie was there. Yeah. Well, I wasn't there when he was there.
Okay.
Because I took
him and
Vincent.
Luther were.
Yeah. They went on. That was after they had already gone, but they had their records recorded on Atlantic. And when Vincent Henry went out with Mtuma, I took his place in Change. Yeah. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Because Tawafa's been on the show as well.
Oh yeah, Tawafa. Yep.
Yeah, I have Robert Kubel here.
Nice. Okay.
A lot of great artists. I have a young lady that wrote the song for Janet Jackson. Let's wait a while. She's coming on next week.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to get to that Najee stage. Right?
Well.
Listen, you know how it is when you're from New York. You just got to keep grinding,
Yeah, listen, the grind never ends, man.
No, it don't end, man. But I'm glad that you. It's good to hear that somebody of stature is using Luna, because I thought I was crazy. Because when I mentioned it to people, they're looking at me like, "What's Luna?
Right?
What do you mean, what's Luna?" But Universal Audio is an incredible. Incredible. Yeah,
it is, man, and I think they're coming out with. An interface, a board, physical board. Yeah, I think I read that. When did I read that? I think it's coming soon, but I'm sure if we go to NAMM this year, we'd see it. So
I'm waiting for NAMM. I went to NAMM once, and when it was in New York at the Jacob Javits.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, it was only in the Jacob Javits once, and I happened to be there, and incredible. But I'm waiting to hear if Core comes out with a new keyboard.
Oh, okay.
Because they have a keyboard that's supposed to replace the Core Kronos.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. You know, the Kronos is like, that's it.
I know, yeah.
That and then...
one of my keyboard players uses one, so it's very powerful.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can create your own sounds, and also the Nord Stage 3 is another one.
Wow.
Incredible. The red one?
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen it.
Yeah, I have seen
Incredible.
it. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. So I'm trying to, we'll see what happens. I think NAMM is next month, right? In June?
Yeah, in June.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, great. So I got to ask you.
Sure.
I'm so grateful and thankful that you came on.
Yes, sir.
Please tell me, and please tell the audience, because we're in 46 countries right now.
Yeah.
Tell everybody what's next for Najee, because I know you got a lot of stuff going on right now.
Yeah, well, as I said, tomorrow we release the album Savoir Faire, which features Allison Williams, as you know.
Yes.
Frank McComb is doing a feature on there. Two of the songs we did on there were recorded in Brazil. So I remade A Felicidade, which is an Antonio Carlos Jobim song, which means happiness in Portuguese, which was a part of a legendary movie, Black Orpheus. It was on that. But what has turned out of that is I'll be going, after the concert on Saturday, I'll be going out to Europe to join Dave Koz on his cruise around the British Isles. And then after that, we come back. We have a couple of festival dates in the U.S., and then I go to Brazil for 3 weeks, and then I come back. And all throughout July, we're working. So we'll be, so anybody who's interested can go to my website, which is being rebuilt as we speak, NajeeOfficial.com, and we'll have everything up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good, man. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Listen, I'm so glad you squeezed me in between Luna and
Hey, it's funny you say that, but I'm actually running the microphone through the Apollo Twin and Luna right now.
Are you really?
Yeah, I sure am.
Wow.
And do you have the satellite too? Do you have the UAD satellite?
I don't have the satellite.
Oh man, you should get it. It's like $700, but if you're doing like big work where you need a lot of open plugins, it takes the processing power off of your CPU on your computer, and it rechannels it through the satellite, which, I have the satellite 2, UAD 2. Check it out. Go to the website. UAD 2 satellite, because if you link it up with the Apollo Twin, it'll open up all the plugins without putting any strain. You can open up as many plugins as you need, And that's why your CPU is not running those programs. You can just do it. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
Because the computer would just crash on me, man. It would just and I was getting frustrated, and I called my friend who works with Babyface, and I was like, man, what do I do? He said, man, you got Apollo 20. He said, man, get you that UAD2 satellite, man. And sure enough, I got it, and it solved my problems, so.
Really?
Yeah. So
now you have yeah, I'm running a Mac. I'm running the Mac M1.
Yeah, I have one I have a Mac as well.
And you still have problems when, wow.
Yeah, and I mean, my Mac is blown out. But when you start using the lexicon, the biggest lexicon reverbs, and you start using all the compressors.
You talk about the 4000? I think it's a 4000.
No, it's the, what's it called? I'll tell you in a second here.
Because they also have, while you're looking for that, they also have the VT737. It was, is a 2 preamp.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, man.
I'm definitely going to check that out.
Yeah, you would love this. So I have the Lexicon 480L. I have the Lexicon 224. I have the Korg. I mean, I have a bunch of stuff in here. I have the Fairchild 670. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yes, absolutely. Fairchild,
I have all the Ocean Way mic collection, Neves. I have everything, man. I mean, and it goes on and on and on and on. I've just went crazy on plugins. But point is,
now, what do you think about not the Fairchild, the Ocean Way? Because I had mixed emotions. Because I have a Neumann, like I said, the Neumann TLM 103.
Yeah,
that's like my go-to mic.
Yeah.
Does it really work? Is the Ocean Way?
Well, you have to buy the virtual mic that goes with it. I haven't used it. Yeah, but I also have a Neumann. I have the What's the model after that?
U87?
U87.
Okay.
Yeah, U87, not 67.
Okay.
U87.
Okay.
And I go between that and the AKG 414. You know, those
Right.
two. Yeah.
Not the second version. You have the older version.
I have the old AKG, man.
That's the original.
Yeah, the original.
See,
OG,
I was
baby.
in
OG all the way, man.
Look, I was in Guitar Center, right? And this young lady was, I have to have a AKG 414. But it was a 414 too.
Oh, yeah.
And I said to her, I said, do you know there's a difference? The capsule is totally different than the original.
That's
just
right.
like the Shure SM7B
Right.
is different than the Shure SM7.
That's right.
Now, when Michael Jackson recorded off, I think it was Thriller? No, it was, what is it, Billie Jean.
Yes.
He used he used the Shure SM7.
Oh.
Not the SM7B.
Wow.
Two totally different microphones.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I thought he was on like, one of those, what they call those AKG C12s or something. You know?
Right. No, because, Bruce Verdine, I had met him.
Right.
He actually told me about that. Yeah.
Really?
He said, no. Yeah.
See, it just goes to show, man, it's who's behind the board, Yeah.
It's who, you can work wonders, just like you said, with Luna.
Yeah. That's right.
Wait till you hear what I've done with Luna.
I can't wait.
And I'm gonna be releasing some of my stuff in the NFT world, but
good. Okay.
Unbelievable. Yeah, like I said, the only difference for me is it doesn't have sounds, but you can always use an external keyboard.
Sure.
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
I think they'll be heading there soon, though. They know what they're doing. They're smart people. So.
Yeah. They actually follow up on questions that their customers have.
Right.
And they're constantly evolving. I mean, it's just,
sure.
But the other one you mentioned, I think was it the Fairchild? What do you think about the Fairchild?
The Fairchild is, the original, the hardware is a classic. Yes. That's the thing about this UAD stuff, man. They captured the classic stuff. Now, we used it on my saxophone on this current album that's coming out tomorrow.
Okay.
And on my flute, beautiful. I mean, It just finds frequencies that so. I don't see the sense in spending $10,000 on a Fairchild when you can have it for less than $60 on your computer. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and it's not like, listen, man, look, Ricardo, nobody's going to say, I'd have bought that record, but that Fairchild, man, wasn't the original. Right. So, it killed it for me, man, when I found out.
That's right.
Nobody gonna say that. You know what I'm saying? So.
Only the people that really understand music would say that.
Yeah.
But what model is the Fairchild that you use?
This one is a 670.
Okay.
Yeah, you go on the website, you'll see it there.
Yeah. Check it out.
Fairchild 670 Legacy.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, it's really nice, man. I really love that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, see, I learned a lot today. I learned that you got this wonderful album coming out. I can't wait. I can't wait to hear that. I learned that you went to school with Russell, which I didn't know.
I did, yep.
And I learned about the UAD satellite. Wow.
Yeah, man. Hey.
Is it really, you just like, because, Brooklyn and Queens, we know how we do, right? But
no, bro.
Is it really that serious? Really?
It's really good. I mean, but see, I don't know how much you do. Like in my case, I run a lot of tracks at a time.
Right.
And if you're running off the computer CPU, it's going to burn it out. I mean, it can't handle all that, so.
Right.
And after a point, I just got so frustrated. My boy was like, nah, man, it's simple, man. Just buy that thing, plug it in. And
so it's an external device is what you're saying.
It's an external hardware. And you put the Apollo Twin on top of it, and you just plug them in via the low cables there, and you're done. And plug it into the CPU of the computer, and man, it handles all the weight that you can't do. So if you start getting into massive vocals, for example, a lot of keyboards, and you want to use a lot of compressors and gates, and you want to run Neve on one set of auxiliary channels, and you want to run your verbs and all that stuff and effects on different channels, busting all this stuff. Your computer can't handle it, man. This is like, okay, you want to fly the space shuttle, or you just want to fly a regular Piper plane, So
you want to go? Look, you want to go to the moon, or
I
you
want to go to the moon, baby. I don't.
That 2 minute drive that Apple was it Amazon? You want to go there for 30 seconds, or you want to go up there for a couple of hours?
Exactly. You see what I'm saying, man? So
yeah.
If you're doing a lot of digital recording, and you want to be able to really open up all those UAD plugins, definitely get the satellite. And they have two versions, but the one I have, it's powerful, man. It's powerful. Okay. For $700, you can't go wrong.
That's not bad.
No, not at all.
That's not bad at all. Wow.
Yeah, man.
Wow. Wow.
So,
Well, that's just you got me all worked up now.
oh, good,
See,
man. Yeah, go to the website, go play with it.
Now I got to pull that card out.
Hey, they offer financing too if you need that. So don't
Do they?
stress.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's so you can figure out ways, creative ways to do it. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, man.
I appreciate that, man. And
yes, sir, Ricardo.
I can't thank you enough, man, for being
my
here.
pleasure,
and,
brother.
And I would love to have you come back one day when when you come off your tour and everything is sound. And I'm sure you're going to be doing other things. And you're always welcome back, man. Especially
I appreciate it, man.
You're Queens, I'm Brooklyn, so you know
absolutely,
how we do.
man. It's good to talk to you, my friend.
Likewise. Hold on one second, okay?
Yeah, sure.
All right.